Oh my God. I love it when people get their axe whooped. Send us back. They are now begging. They are now begging that now we personally want to be deported. Send us back to where we belong. We were actually better there. We were actually doing well before we literally came into this mess. Anyways, this is an edition of the F around and find out moment. You know, a lot of people think that once the orange man said, oh, move down to this place, oh my God, they are going to be seeing a glamorous, sweet, everything they are going to be enjoying will literally be falling down from heaven. That is the story you're about to watch today. Because let it make sense to me that these people literally said that they were not comfortable, that the racism in South Africa is too much on them. And yeah, the orange man, be it as it may, because he's actually a good person, he has to tell them, send them down. They don't need to be there because they are white people. They don't need to be suffering there. They don't need to be dealing with the racism there. Send them down to the US because I want to take care of my fellow white people. Now, what is happening? What is literally happening? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And for disclaimers, this is just for educational purposes, not to come here ruffle on anyone's shoulder or make anyone feel uncomfortable. And yes, guys, with that being said, let's dive right into this video. I'll be back with commentaries.
Well, it turns out the descendants of colonizers in South Africa who fled South Africa alleging persecution for being white, who came to the United States with the alleged welcome of the current president, have been left to fend for themselves. Y'all, it's bad. It's bad. This is from the Free Press, and I quote, languishing in cockroach-infested apartments, walking miles to the grocery store for food, and eating just one meal a day to save money. This is life in America for some newly arrived Afrikaner refugees from South Africa. Again, this article is on the Free Press. Apparently, this administration used the Afrikaner plight, championed by that musky man, to bring over these Afrikaners from South Africa to resettle here, essentially be used as a PR photo op. And then they were literally abandoned. These folks were talking about not having any blankets or towels for themselves, being put in motels, and given $2,000 a month. Most of that they spent on rent. Mind you, they came over here with very big promises, allegedly that they would be taken care of. There will be all sorts of benefits for them through this refugee program. Now to turn around mere months later, to find themselves living in squalor. No, I am not laughing at the plight that has befallen them, but it is kind of funny that you allege what has been combated by the South African government, that you are suffering as a white person who is experiencing persecution for being white. And then you come to this country where they're supposed to be trying to make white great again. You pose for the pictures, you do the photo ops, and then the administration literally treats you like garbage. Somebody cue up the Leopard song. Someone cue up the Leopard song right now.
Well, hello, boys and girls. Do y'all remember all these smiling faces that arrived here about a year ago?
Killed. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that violence and come here.
Well, I remember them. They got off of that plane smiling like they had just landed in Disney World. They thought they was about to come over here and live a life of luxury, zero labor, and all the racism their little hearts can stomach. But they are learning out the hard way that the grass is not always greener on the other side, and racism is expensive than a motherfucker. They can barely pay rent. They don't have the right clothing. They can't afford to buy the right clothing because they're barely affording rent. They barely have food. And most of them are still living out of hotels, which we know is expensive as a motherfucker. They thought they was about to come over here and be the brand new Elon Musk arriving from South Africa. Yet another fatality of those that have blindly put their faith in Trump, racism, and hatred. Happy Black History Month.
You may recall last year we reported on the Trump administration's decision to limit the number of refugees entering the United States. That number was set at 7,500, a significant cut from the Biden era. In addition, the administration is prioritizing white South Africans for admission, a group it says faces persecution at home, something the South African government disputes. Well, now an investigation from the Free Press shows many of those white South Africans, also known as Afrikaners, are barely scraping by because of what they say are failures in U.S. government systems. Madeline Rowley is an investigative reporter for the Free Press, and she joins us now from Virginia to talk about this. And we should note the Free Press and CBS News share a parent company in Paramount Skydance. Madeline, good morning. Talk to us about the conditions some of these refugees say they are experiencing, because the administration made it seem as if they were being prioritized. They are a special group.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on. Yes, I spoke to 10 South African refugees who told me that, they came to the U.S. hoping for a better life, a better situation, just as other refugees. And the government contracts with 7 refugee resettlement agencies that are paid hundreds of millions of dollars per year to provide safe, sanitary, and affordable housing. And unfortunately, what I heard from these Afrikaner refugees is that they're spending weeks in motels in unsafe areas. They're being offered housing that is full of mold, apartments that are full of mold in expensive areas. So each refugee is allotted $2,000, and all of that has been going to rent. So they're really left with nothing. And these agencies are supposed to help them apply to jobs, obtain temporary benefits such as SNAP and Medicaid, and basically other people from the community, like neighbors, are having to step in because they just, in some cases, can't even get a hold of their resettlement agencies.
And Madeline, what jumps out to me about what you're saying is we have this almost split screen between what you're describing their life is like now and how they looked in May of 2025 when they were being welcomed here. They were holding American flags. They had smiles on their faces. When you asked refugee groups about these issues with the resettlement process, what are they telling you? How common is this?
Well, from what I could tell, there is an entire network of people as they come. People I spoke to came as soon as 2 weeks ago. And what they do is, they have a network through social media groups and WhatsApp, and they're all realizing, oh no, I'm stuck in this hotel. I only have a certain amount of food. They don't have transportation. They don't have the right clothing. I talked to 3 refugees who are in Detroit. It's very cold there. They do not have coats. So they're realizing that they really feel.
You may recall last year we reported on the Trump administration's decision to limit the number of refugees entering the United States. That number was set at 7,500, a significant cut from the Biden era. In addition, the administration is prioritizing white South Africans for admission, a group it says faces persecution at home, something the South African government disputes. Well, now an investigation from the Free Press shows many of those white South Africans, also known as Afrikaners, are barely scraping by because of what they say are failures in U.S. government systems. Madeline Rowley is an investigative reporter for the Free Press, and she joins us now from Virginia to talk about this. And we should note the Free Press and CBS News share a parent company in Paramount Skydance. Madeline, good morning. Talk to us about the conditions some of these refugees say they are experiencing, because the administration made it seem as if they were being prioritized. They are a special group.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on. Yes, I spoke to 10 South African refugees who told me that, they came to the U.S. hoping for a better life, a better situation, just as other refugees. And the government contracts with 7 refugee resettlement agencies that are paid hundreds of millions of dollars per year to provide safe, sanitary, and affordable housing. And unfortunately, what I heard from these Afrikaner refugees is that they're spending weeks in motels in unsafe areas. They're being offered housing that is full of mold, apartments that are full of mold in expensive areas. So each refugee is allotted $2,000, and all of that has been going to rent. So they're really left with nothing. And these agencies are supposed to help them apply to jobs, obtain temporary benefits such as SNAP and Medicaid, and basically other people from the community, like neighbors, are having to step in because they just, in some cases, can't even get a hold of their resettlement agencies.
And Madeline, what jumps out to me about what you're saying is we have this almost split screen between what you're describing their life is like now and how they looked in May of 2025 when they were being welcomed here. They were holding American flags. They had smiles on their faces. When you asked refugee groups about these issues with the resettlement process, what are they telling you? How common is this?
Well, from what I could tell, I mean, there is an entire network of people as they come. I mean, people I spoke to came as soon as 2 weeks ago. And what they do is, they have a network through social media groups and WhatsApp, and they're all realizing, oh no, I'm stuck in this hotel. I only have a certain amount of food. They don't have transportation. They don't have the right clothing. I talked to 3 refugees who are in Detroit. It's very cold there. They do not have coats. So they're realizing that they really feel alone.
I don't know any immigrants in my personal life. I don't know any immigrants in my personal life that don't have a job. I don't. Every immigrant I know, we have about the same color skin or darker, and they all have a job, and they all get taxed, and they all pay the IRS. Because, they buy into the system. Every immigrant I know, do they have 100% control of the English language? No, they don't. They have an accent and it's thick sometimes. And yet somehow they manage to hold down a job. So I don't know any immigrants who get free money. I don't know any immigrants who get whatever free amount of money or housing. I don't know any of them. Every immigrant I know has a job, dude. Has a effing job. And they work. So when I hear certain people say, oh, all these immigrants are just getting free money and free housing and free this, I don't know who you're talking about. I've never met one. Where are they? Because I want to get some free money. I want to get free money. I have a job too. I also want to get free money and free housing. Where are all these benefits these people are getting? Where are they? Tell them. Stop gatekeeping. Tell me, please. I want to get free money too. Huh? Everyone thinks, oh, you just come over here and everything's free. Y'all think it's free. Free. Easy. Everyone I know has a job, dude.
Reports are emerging that a number of Afrikaner South Africans who were fast-tracked into the United States under a controversial resettlement policy are facing significant challenges as they try to settle. Since early 2025, the U.S. implemented a program that prioritized white South Africans, particularly Afrikaners, for refugee status. The policy was framed by officials as a response to alleged racial discrimination in South Africa. Over 1,600 Afrikaners have been resettled in the U.S. through this expedited initiative, which moved much faster than standard refugee processes. While typical refugee admissions can take months or even years, these cases were processed quickly, even as overall refugee quotas were reduced. However, the reality on the ground has proven difficult for many arrivals. Several report being placed in temporary motels in high-crime neighborhoods or in apartments with maintenance issues such as mold. With limited financial support, reportedly around $2,000 per person, most are struggling to cover rent, food, transportation, and basic living expenses. Refugee advocates and experts say this situation highlights weaknesses in U.S. resettlement infrastructure. While the program focused on a specific demographic, other groups fleeing war, famine, and displacement continue to face strict barriers to entry. Critics argue that prioritizing one community over others raises questions about fairness and effectiveness. Adding fuel to the debate, South Africans on social media have reacted strongly. Many are saying no backsies, arguing that those who moved based on claims of a so-called white genocide should stay abroad with their savior Trump. Some are even calling for their South African citizenship to be revoked, citing frustration over the misleading narrative that allegedly motivated the departures. Although the program was intended as humanitarian relief, the difficulties faced by the resettled Afrikaners show that rapid entry does not guarantee a stable transition. Many are now trying to navigate employment, housing, and community integration with limited support, underscoring the broader challenges of resettling refugees in a new country.
Year, we reported on the Trump administration.
Y'all get the point. Donald Trump and Elon Musk use those people as political pawns. They were a piece on their chessboard. And then those people's racism blinded them to the fact that they were being used as political pawns. And their white supremacy led them to believe that they were entitled to the American dream. Now that they're here, has anybody told them what white Americans, white racist Americans in this country, what white supremacists like to tell people who are not American citizens? Has anybody told them that? You need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And if you can't work here, then maybe you need to go back to your own country.
Y'all remember this time last year when the Trump administration brought over that group of white South Africans claiming they were facing racial persecution and injustice in their home country? I have an update. Out that the majority of them are struggling here in the United States. They are only given $2,000 a month, which typically their rent eats up, so they have no more funds for food, transportation, anything extra. They're living in roach-infested apartments. They are living in an unsafe area. It's almost as if the United States is oppressive. Tried to tell y'all. And if anything, this just further goes to show that there are flaws within our immigration system, flaws within our asylum system. There are flaws. It's not the people, it's the system. This is what happens when our politicians are more interested in using immigration as a talking point, as a tool for election, rather than an actual issue that needs to be addressed rather immediately.
If you're wondering what happened to the Afrikaners who were rescued from South African white genocide from South Africa by Donald Trump and taken to America, well, I will tell you, they've come out and said that there's been a failure of policy because they basically are barely scraping by. That is their description, that they're barely scraping by. So they were rescued from South Africa thinking, and most of them obviously never been to America, and thinking that they were going to turn up to a place that is paved in gold, only to find out that America has literally got millions of people who live in the streets. And many people in America, at least 10 million people, actually live in their cars. And these Afrikaners claimed asylum in the United States of America. And now they're saying that there's been a total failure of the rescue because they're not getting by. They're barely scraping by. This is what they say.
Let me show you another side of America. And this is especially for the Afrikaners that's really thinking about taking that refugee status and thinking you might have a better chance in life. But no one has told you about the other side of America. Because remember, when you go in there, you have to start right at the bottom. So this really gives you a chance to rethink about lying on that application that you're prosecuted because of your race.
California sure does have a homeless problem. Driving around town, there's homeless encampments all over the place. They're on the sides of the roads and dirt lots. There's long stretches of them on sidewalks. Some are in tents, some are in RVs, Some are actual encampments with makeshift structures where hundreds of people gather into communities. It's estimated there's about 5,000 homeless individuals throughout the city.
I am equally, if not more so.
They struggling. They are struggling. So the Afrikaners, Elon Musk had Trump bring to the United States because they were being prosecuted, are stating they are having serious issues surviving in the United States. And the only person that can be blamed for this struggle is Trump himself. Trump cut a bunch of funding that Biden set up for refugee programs. And it wasn't just the money that Trump cut, it's also the staff that he cut at refugee offices and other federal offices because of the Doge Department. Elon Musk did this to his own peoples. So these refugees are saying they're only making $2,000 a month, which is barely enough to handle their rent. They're saying the houses they're in are roach infested. They're saying there's a lack of access to refugee support, again, because of Doge cutting all of that support. And they feel very isolated from these programs, and the language barrier is bothering them. So I'm not sure what more can be said about this struggle and why cutting refugee programs and the people physically working in those refugee programs was a bad idea, because even the people he is trying to help, the better immigrants, as they would say in the Trump administration, are now struggling to be here. Y'all have a good day.
You've landed in the US, your heart is hopeful, but your mind is full of questions. What happens now? After arrival in the United States, the first days can feel overwhelming, but you are not alone. Refugee agencies and NGOs are assigned to help guide you through housing paperwork, medical checkups, and school enrollment for children. Your caseworker is your main point of contact. Ask questions. No question is too small. Their role is to help you stabilize and move forward. Culture shock is real simple things like grocery stores, school systems, accents, and schedules can feel confusing or even lonely at first. This is normal. Adjustment takes time, especially for families and children starting school in a new environment. Your caseworker is your key to info. Here's the encouragement. Every step you take, every form completed, every school day attended is progress. You didn't come this far to fail. You came to rebuild. One day at a time, you will find your footing.
Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be.
Racism is expensive, and the earlier you realize that, the better for you. Because if you check 99% of some of the videos I've been bringing here regarding South Africans, you will notice that the people that are being highly racist profile towards black South Africans are white South African. And it was so interesting when I now realized, and I was seeing on the news headline, that the almighty orange man literally wants to bring the white South African people down. And he even said, even if you check in the videos that I roll out, that they should come get citizenship, they don't deserve to be there, and they should be suffering. Remember that South African presidents came out and debunk all of that, but still the orange man chose to take a private jet, put them in, and fly them down to America. Now, there were a lot of promises that were being made for them in America. Meanwhile, let it make sense to you that there are these white South Africans that were in South Africans that were literally doing well. They had businesses there, they had life there, they had home there, they had jobs there, that they were doing and living well. But because the orange man promised them east, west, north, and south, they decided to take their bag and baggages, abandon a lot of things they are doing, not even considering the disadvantages that it's literally going to come with. They were only seeing the advantage and the future, all in the name of, I am moving to America. America is going to be the best place for me. They left family, they left things, they left their job, they left a lot just for them to move as a refugee. Just imagine me living a comfortable life. Imagine me having a car, at all, having a roof over my head, or I actually have a house of my own. Imagine me having a company. Imagine me working where at least in a month I can be able to feed my family, feed myself, and also do other things. Then I decide to abandon my luxury. I abandon my luxury all in the name of I want to come to United States with a private jet, tagging myself as a refugee. That is what these people did not think before taking their bags and baggages, taking their children with the American flag, waving all over our face, and they moved. But I remember when South Africans were crying about most of the things that happened, there was even a time that some black South Africans went to this white South African farm to go do some job, and they were unalive. Nobody said anything about that. The orange man did not say anything about that. But the moment it becomes a thing of the white people, a thing of the white skin, he looked at it and is like, I can't just leave these people to suffer. Oh, these people are suffering too much. Pack your bag and baggages and come to the promised land. Come to the land that is flowing with milk and honey. Come to the land that you will eat and nobody will stress you. Come to the land that you will receive salary free of charge. Come to the land that your children will grow without having any fear of anybody. And they moved, they paused, they flied, waving the flag, and they landed with happy faces, with kids. They landed with the hope and joy that I don't need to do too much. I just need to enjoy. And now they are crying. Now they are crying. Every single promises that is being made to them, wiped off. All the results that they think they were going to achieve, wiped off. And this is one thing with relocation that a lot of people do not know, right? One thing with relocation is the moment you leave a particular location and you are doing well in that location, then you pick up yourself to another location thinking you are not going to do so much, you just need to relax for you to achieve, then something is definitely going to be wrong. Now, why are they online crying? Why are they saying they want to go back? I thought you people want to enjoy lives of luxuries. Now they are seeing what is called the F around and find out moments. There were some white South Africans that did not come. They said, no, let's just stay. And this is why I said racism is expensive. It's expensive because the orange man did it because these people are white. But he couldn't consider all the crimes that these same white South Africans have literally been committing in South Africa. It's that crazy. And this is why I keep saying there is nobody that will know how to build America more than black Americans. I will still keep saying it with my full chest. I will still keep saying it without any fear or favor. There is nobody that literally know what American is all about. What American needs to know. What American needs to be. That is not black Americans. Because black Americans cannot just wake up and do it and take decisions like this. Before they will look out for the disadvantages and the advantages. Now, look how the American country is. A lot of them were saying, we thought American is going to be great. We thought we are going to join the Make American Great Again. Now we are regretting. Now we are not even seeing anything. Now we are walking a long distance miles for us to even get food. Now the only thing we eat is just 1 square meal. But we eat 3 square meal where we are coming from. In fact, some of our children even eat 4 square meal. Our children attend the biggest university, the biggest schools where we are coming from. Now coming to US, we are now finding out that all of the life that we left behind was 100% better for us. I'm happy for you people. I'm happy for you people. Enjoy the luxury. Enjoy what the orange man promised you. Yes. You people should not come online and cry. You people should go and drag him. You people should go and tell him to come fulfill his promises, or he should take that same private jet and send you people back. That is if South African government will literally want to receive you people back. Because you cannot come and take and you want to come and dump them back. No way. We don't want liabilities. Stay there and enjoy. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do well, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share for every other person to get this good news. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing my videos, dropping super thanks, joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And thank you so much for staying stick and hook with me to the end of this video. And yes guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like all I say in my videos. I'm going to be simple and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys.